Well, I hopped it up to Billboard's Hot 100 August 30, excuse me, August 30th, 1980, as opposed to August 23rd, 1980. Let's go to that. Boy, got lost 45. I want to get on for you. But let's go to that Billboard Hot 100. August 30th, 1980. Got a lot of drops. Darling by Yipes. Talked about that about a week ago. Fantastic Beach Boys remake at number 100. That peaked at 68. Funky Town by Limps Inc. Falling. It's down to 99. It was on the charts for 23 weeks. Let's Get Serious by Jermaine Jackson at number 98. That too was on the charts for 23 weeks. I'm Alive by ELO. That was a big hit for them in the summer of 1980. Let Me Love You Tonight by Pure Prairie League at number 96. And by the way, the ELO song was number 97. Let Me Love You Tonight at number 96 by Pure Prairie League. That was a big hit for the spring and summer of 1980. Falling off of Billboard's Hot 100. Hanging in there, though, at Billboard's Hot 100, but not doing well at all here in the States. But boy, if you're into new wave music, you're probably familiar with Roxy Music. Over You coming in at number 95, up from 97 the previous week on Billboard's Hot 100. The Roxy Music, it was the brainchild of Brian Ferry. And Brian Ferry, at one time, was a ceramics teacher at a girls' school. This was in 1970. 1971, he formed Roxy Music along with a bass player named Graham Simpson, another longtime member of Roxy Music, Phil Manzanera, a member of that band. I'll talk more about him in just a minute. They released their first album in 1972 called Roxy Music, self-titled album. Did very well for them. They did really good in England and overseas in Europe, really popular in Europe, but their only American hit was Love is a Drug. That was early in 1976, winter and spring of 1976. And the guy had that new wave sound to it. It was a little bit ahead of its time, a little bit ahead of the curve in 1976. Because, America, here in America, the Americans like the arena bands, the Journeys, the REO Speedwagons, and, Styx that were getting real popular during that era. Over You got that new wave sound. Listen to the synthesizer at the end of it. You still hear shades of that and some of the alternative records today. This group pretty much ahead of their time. The album is Flesh and Blood, came out in 1980. It would be their sixth album. Their last album came out in 1982 called Avalon. And Over You went to number 3, number 5 in England. It was a huge hit in England. And here in the States didn't do quite as well. I'll get into the chart positions here in the States in a minute. The album itself, Flesh and Blood, went to number 1 in England. It was on the British album charts for 60 weeks. Roxy Music, they were doing phenomenally well in England. Not so much here in the States, though. The inspiration for this song came in 1979. Phil Manzanera, hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, but he called Brian Ferry. He built his first recording studio. Phil Manzanera built his recording studio. Built his own recording studio. He called Brian Ferry. He said, "Man, how would you like to check out my new recording studio, man? I got it all pimped out. It's looking fantastic." And Brian Ferry came down to the studio, to Manzanera's recording studio, and they started jamming out. Brian Ferry picked up a bass guitar, Manzanera picked up a rhythm guitar, and they came up with this song in 5 minutes. Before they knew it, it was top 5 in Britain. And also on this album, they cover 8 Miles High by the Byrds and In the Midnight Hour by Wilson Pickett. Two great stellar classics from the 60s. Coming in, though, at boy, this is just such a jam. Nobody here played it. Nobody. Maybe at Fantra's AM station somewhere out there probably played it with a brilliant music director. Number 95, though, on Billboard's Hot 100. It got as high as number 80. That's it. On Billboard's Hot 100 for a month here in America. Just sank without a trace over here. But listening to the record, it's not really that commercial. Maybe commercial enough for England. Maybe some of their listeners have more of it, what I would call an adventurous ear. But here in America, not quite commercial enough to be top 10 or top 20. Still, good song. Over You, Roxy Music at number 95, up from 97 on Billboard's Hot 100, August 30th, 1980.